Hey guys, this is the Battle Productions and welcome to a Nintendo News, and basically this video is about supporting the Nintendo 2DS. And basically the whole point is the 2DS really doesn't need 3D for a good gaming experience. Okay, so on an article on Eurogamer.net, I think it is, they posted an article way back in September 2011 saying 28% based on polls said they would never use 3D. Okay, this is what I have to say about that. Okay, so yeah, 28% way back said there's no way they're gonna use 3D because it will detract the experience from the gamer. I could see how this is. I mean, let's say you're playing like Star Fox and you're moving around the 3DS and stuff, and 3D's on, then you have to keep your head moving with it, or you'll lose the 3D and then it'll mess you up. I could see exactly why people are upset about that, and I mean, usually for those games, you're like, oh, so frustrating. Just put on the 2D anyways. There's like not many games on there that really need you to have 3D. I mean, even Super Mario 3D Land, you don't need 3D for that game. I mean, you don't need 3D for any of the games. That's why they made it optional. But the thing is, people don't want to buy the 3D option. If they know they're not going to use it, then what's the point of paying $170? At that point, it was $250. Or maybe 200. I don't know when that was. But thing is, not many people really wanted the 3D. So they actually listened to the fans and they made a Nintendo 2DS. After a long wait, they finally made one. So, yeah, 28% said that then. What do you think that is now? It's probably about 45-50% that probably will think that now. Because the 3D was a big thing at first. People were like, oh man, this is amazing. But who uses it all the time anymore? I mean, I don't even use it anymore. I mean, like, I use the 3D just sometimes when I play Animal Crossing New Leaf, but that's when I'm playing by myself. I mean, when I'm recording the footage to play that game, I can't use 3D because my 3DS capture board software doesn't support that just yet. And, I mean, what's the point? I mean, if you're so used to not using 3D, then it's like, okay, yeah, I guess I really don't need it after all. And speaking of that, the 3DS capture board, basically, since the 2DS is coming out, there's going to be a capture board for the 2DS. I already can tell. And the reason why is because it's going to be cheaper. You don't need 3D capabilities in order to have a 2DS board on it. Because if it's not going to have 3D compatibility anyways on the system itself, then why even put that on the capture board? And that's the positive for the 2DS. Because normally, if they do make a capture board, which I know they will, it'll be at least $100 less than the 3DS one. The 3DS board, from the guy I got it from, was $200 or at least $250, and I had to send the thing in, and then he, did all of his things and send it back, and now I can record with it. But $250, that's a ton of money since it won't have 3D. I mean, he told me that the 3D. It's possible that that board can record 3D with this software once he makes a couple updates. But, like I said, if there's not going to be any 3D compatibility, it's going to be cheaper. So that's the positive thing about getting a 2DS. Because, yeah, like I said, when they get a 2DS capture board, they won't have to pay as much because there's going to be no 3D. So that's one thing that is really good about the 2DS. Same thing with that other article that I just said, that 28% don't use 3D. It's the positive for them because they don't have to pay for it anymore. Now, that's basically, those are the things I want to say to support the Nintendo 2DS. Now, there's one thing I want to talk about. It's about the button design. I know I talked about that in the last video, but I want to have a little update based on the shoulder buttons. I did a little bit of research. I've been looking at some photos of the Nintendo 2DS. And they're basically right at the top of the 2DS. Like, they're not in the back, like behind it. They're actually at the top. So that's the reason why all the buttons are moved up, so you can actually hit the shoulder buttons on the top. And when I looked at them, they looked like the Nintendo Wii U gamepad's shoulder buttons on there. Not the triggers, but just the regular shoulder buttons. Now, I don't know what to say about that. The shoulder buttons, I mean, I don't like the shoulder buttons on the Wii U gamepad. I mean, that's probably because the triggers are there, and you have to have 2 fingers of each hand on the back of the system in order to, and it just doesn't feel comfortable. I mean, because usually when you want to do something like, let's say Call of Duty, even though I don't have that game, but let's say Call of Duty, you want to throw a grenade, you have to move your fingers up to press the R button, it'll throw a grenade. It's just not too convenient. But there are no trigger buttons on the 2DS. So that means that you'll have fingers free in order to use those shoulder buttons. So it may be a more comfortable experience than the Wii U gamepad. We don't know. We won't know until we actually try it out at a store when they have it on launch or something like that. So yes, those are the things I want to talk about the 2DS. I understand a lot of people just flat out just don't like the system, and I understand that. I mean, they are so used to the 3D, and just because they take it away for a system, I definitely understand why people are upset. And I mean, it really isn't that big of a deal to be upset about in the first place, but I know some people just really like doing that. But I understand I'll get a bunch of dislikes for me supporting the Nintendo 2DS. But I just wanted to point out a couple things about the Nintendo 2DS that really, it shows that it actually can be a good portable system. Well, it's not really portable. I mean, it's a big, long slate. And, but that doesn't matter. I mean, they give you a little Ziploc bag. Not a Ziploc bag, not like a plastic bag, but it has a zipper on. Like, it's like a little bag they give you. It's like not a big bag. It's like a little skinny bag that they give you. And I think that's decent. I mean, it's thin, it's longer, of course, but it's not as thick as the 3DS case. So, I mean, there's positives and negatives to that. But I think that'll be it for this video. And if you enjoyed this news video, or let's say you really if you really understand what I said here, please leave a like. And then if you want more news, just remember to subscribe. And if you like a lot of stuff that's similar to my stuff on my channel, check out the people in my box. And yeah, see you guys next time for some Nintendo news.